Oh god, Dino Tails, you're a rant YouTuber now? Yeah, I know that's what you're probably saying, and yeah, I probably am going to be a rant YouTuber now. Of course, the Dino Tail videos will still continue, you're gonna have to wait for that one, pal. Alright, now let's get on to today's topic, SCP Explained. So, I am a big fan of SCP Explained. I know not a lot of people like them due to their tendency to shorten major SCP articles, or to sometimes forget information, but I personally can look past those faults. Personally, I think the notion that you have to get every detail in an SCP video is a little disingenuous and a little unreasonable and kind of gatekeepish, mainly because there are some SCP articles that either have information that don't overall negatively or positively affect the story, or SCPs that are way too detailed than they need to be. I'm looking at you, SCP-6500. So that's why me and a lot of people are okay with SCP Explained content, and besides, unlike certain YouTube channels, they actually do care for the SCP community. They haven't done a community post in a while, but hey, I'm sure they're working on something. Hopefully. But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. What I wanted to talk about is a problem I've started to notice in their recent videos, and SCP Explained fans may be able to determine what I'm talking about. So, if you haven't noticed, in their recent videos, they have recently increased the length of, well, their recent videos, like I've said. Well, this is good for some, because this means that for longer SCP articles, there's more time to cover more information and stuff like that. However, this has negatively affected shorter SCPs, more specifically the shortened SCP videos. See, the average SCP Explained video these days runs at least over 15 minutes. This is both a negative and a positive. For it's a negative because, well, I'll explain to that in a moment, but it's a positive because, like I said, we get more details. And, however, I'm going to explain to you why it's a negative, and an SCP Explained fan may know why it's a negative, but I'll just explain it to you anyway. So it's a negative because, well, they have a tendency to tell really long stories and then leave the SCPs for the later half of the video, which is usually under 5 minutes. I'm not saying that you shouldn't tell stories with your SCPs. Dr. Bob has been doing this for a long time. But the problem is SCP Explained has been telling those stories for the SCP video. And these aren't tales, these are the stories representing the SCP. For example, let's use a hypothetical. In the recent SCP-617 video, which was about the man-eating rocks, or the pet rocks, or whatever they were called, the entire video was about a story involving SCP-617. The thing is, the words SCP-617 were not said once in that video, or maybe they were, maybe I wasn't paying attention. The entire episode was just a story involving the pet rocks, and no mention of the Foundation anywhere. Yes, there's visual mentions of the Foundation, but no mention of the Foundation. And I feel like this episode is representative of a problem that's been happening in these videos. See, by ultimately making the video lengths longer, they end up having to pad out the videos. And this can suck for shorter SCPs, because shorter SCPs don't exactly have a lot of information onto them. SCPs like 617 or SCP 693 or SCP-583 don't have a lot of things going on in their articles, because, well, it's understandable, they're Series 1 SCPs, but ultimately that makes a problem. See, because they're so short, the SCP Explained crew have to make stories that take up most of the video, leaving the explanations to the last part. However, sometimes, well, you know how that complaint that SCP animated channels sometimes miss a lot of information? Well, it feels to me like the SCP Explained crew wanted to deal with that criticism by making the videos longer. However, I've been noticed that even with the video length being increased, they have missed information. For example, in their SCP-589 video, well, yes, it was a pretty interesting and kind of sad tale of a manipulative anomaly taking advantage of a woman whose dog died. Ultimately, they forgot to mention a part about how the Foundation kept SCP-589 contained, and how it was found. For those wondering, it was found in the middle of a village that had torn itself apart trying to get to the anomaly. Then there are weird cases, like SCP-693. Now, you know that SCP-693 is the voodoo dolls that when you put hair into it, you can see the person, blah blah blah, they'll eventually kill you. But the thing is that there are multiple versions of the 693 dolls, and depending on the color, well, yeah, they're different colored, they'll kill you in many different ways. However, In the SCP Explained version of the video, they didn't seem to mention that the different versions at all. In fact, the entire video was taken up by a story of a girl using a 1693 instance to talk to a boy she likes, or to get closer to him. And yeah, the words SCP-693 aren't even mentioned till the end of the video. Now, I personally believe that there's something fishy going on, but not fishy in that way. Personally, I think it's more of an act of not wanting to be repetitive. Dino Tales, what are you talking about? Well, allow me to explain. See, SCP-693 videos were done previously by Dr. Bob. So was a video for SCP-589, except Dr. Bob didn't do a video for SCP-589. SCP Exposed did a video for SCP-589. If you don't know who SCP Exposed is, he's a very obscure SCP YouTuber who did get a lot of attention during the SCP animation boom back then, but ultimately has kind of fallen off because he takes way breaks that are way too long. My guess is that the SCP Explained crew does not want to appear repetitive. It doesn't want to give us the same information that has been given by other SCP YouTubers. However, that creates a problem. By not wanting to be repetitive, they ultimately create a new problem in not giving us any information on the SCPs at all. In fact, this even affects SCP articles that are actually long and not Series 1. For example, in their SCP-3994 video, they kind of botched it. So if you don't know, in the SCP-3994 video, there's a twist at the end where it reveals that one of the researchers was actually one of the SCP-3994 instances. Crap, I didn't actually explain what that was. Basically, 3994 are aliens that can take the shape of humans. Yeah, it's pretty basic. But, like I said, there's a twist at the end where it's revealed that one of the doctors is actually a 3994 instance. When in the SCP Explained video, they didn't even touch that plot twist. In fact, the entire thing is just a story involving a person encountering 3994 instances, which is interesting and all, but that wasn't what the original article is about. The whole thing about the article is that it implies that 3994 instances are actually smarter than we're actually giving them credit for, given that they were able to infiltrate the Foundation. Again, this harpers back to my not be repetitive point. SCP Exposed did a video on 3994, which could explain why SCP Explained didn't want to, did that. Ultimately, I do think that this is a problem, and people have been calling it out. I'm hoping that the SCP Explained crew can at least change some of their scripts they have in progress to accommodate this problem. Because if you don't know, it takes at least 2 months to make a video, and the fact that they're making a video every single day means that, well, they got a lot of work to do. So they're most likely will be seeing this problem for a while, given the fact that there are already completed scripts and things and SCPs that have already been animated and are already set to be uploaded. And I just want to give this out there. There's nothing wrong with being repetitive. There's nothing wrong with giving the same facts. Personally, in my personal opinion, as long as you do it in a way that's different from the last person who did it, you're golden. SCP Explained doesn't need to be afraid of giving or being received as repetitive, because they do have their own style. Whether you like them or not, you have to admit that they do have their own certain ways of talking about SCPs. Hunter is an amazing voice actor, and I personally think that he carries the entire channel on his back at this point. And I'm not saying that the channel can't do story videos, but maybe you should save those for stories that people actually want to see. For example, more SCP-5000 tales, some SCP When Day Breaks tales, or just maybe some When versus stuff, or hypothetical or alternate timelines. I guess at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is, I'm hoping that SCP Explained can maybe, shorten their videos a little bit. Not every series, maybe have the Series 1 SCPs, or just the short SCPs in general, go back to being 10 minutes. And having the long videos be the over 15-minute videos. Not everything needs to be over 15 minutes long. Sometimes people like short and simple, which is the reason why people liked SCP Explained in the first place. Sorry if I stumbled over my words in this video. This is actually my first video, and, first video in a while. First rant video in a while. I did something similar to this. I guess I just wanted to make this video because I wanted to get my thoughts out there on this current situation. I say situation like it's some kind of freaking news. It's making the news headlines or something. Anyway, I guess that's it. If you want to see more rant videos like this, I'll be interested in making some. So, see you later. Bye.